Hi friends, Evolving Guys, thanks for following along with our collection journey. I'm turning over a bit of a new leaf with this video. I already have done these monthly market updates. They're really not so much market updates, but really just checking in monthly with my own collection and showing you how I track things. And I think what I'd like to do is on the first Friday of the month, I'll call them First Fridays, Pokemon Market Update, I'll do these videos. The first Friday gives me a little bit of time. Usually it takes a couple days to do the data work. But in any case, this is our first Friday of October, and I just want to check in with how the collection developed over the month of September. You see a couple cards in front of you. I'm going to talk about those cards in 1 second. But I've done this before. I know this is super old school and this is DIY, but that is this channel. We are a DIY, like single take sort of operation here. And so I'll show you that first I have what I call my Pokemon buy list. And this is the sealed stuff that I seek out. And I'm going to do a separate video at some point. I've had it in my mind since I started the channel to do an actual investing video with my own opinion about investing. I have some thoughts. But in any case, I will just show this kind of quickly, is I do like to collect vintage Elite Trainer boxes. And so I keep a list here. These are the ones that I still need. Of course, at this point, it's really all it's the high-hanging fruit, if you want to call it the opposite of low-hanging fruit, really the very expensive ones. But I still go through once a month and I find out just what the market price is. In some cases, it's the TCG Player market price, which is listed there, or in some cases, TCG Player actually doesn't have a market price because there aren't enough transactions on these. And so I go to Troll and Toad and just see what they are charging. Troll and Toad usually doesn't have any in stock of any of these items, but it's just a way to kind of keep a rough tab on what it would cost if I were to get any of these. And you can see that what's left is all the expensive stuff. You've got, several that are in the thousands of dollar range, and then the lowest stuff is still around the $500 range. And if I ever saw one of those for just quote unquote, just $500, that would feel like a good deal. You just don't really run into vintage sealed ETBs very often. And I've sort of abandoned this, at least I'm not actively pursuing these items, but down the road, if I won the lottery or came into some money or something, or that those would be things I'd love to add to my collection. So anyway, I have a list there of just the remaining ETBs, sealed ETBs that I do not have for my collection. And then I have, I do actually try to pick up sealed products of each new set, and I can talk more about that, I think, in a different video, but I do basically try to get all the, every item that's part of a main series set, booster box case, booster boxes, ETBs, 3-pack blisters, single-pack blisters, art sets of the sleeved booster packs, and the build and battle boxes. I like to have at least some of each of those, if possible. And, getting them right at release or near release is really kind of the way to go, I think, because you're going to get them at really good prices. And then, just to buy and hold those as sealed products. I don't really buy collection boxes to keep sealed or tins to keep sealed. I have some older ones that I've when I first started collecting, but again, this will go in a different video when I talk about my approach to sealed collecting. But I do try to pick up these items, and with special sets, they don't have all of those. So you see Shrouded Fable and Scarlet Violet 151. I'm sort of two minds about how I collect those even still, and that's maybe for another video. So anyway, I do have this and try to keep it updated. Again, as you can see, I did pick up some Twilight Masquerade sealed items in the last month. I picked up a booster box case of the new set Stellar Crown for my sealed collection. And so what I do is I keep this, I print this out at the beginning of the month. I keep it throughout the month. When I pick up things on the list, I cross them off. And then at the end of each month, I will just go into the actual document, edit out, delete these lines, which is always a nice feeling when these get shorter, add new sets. Surging Sparks, obviously I'll need to add that in when we get to November. You can see I have the release date listed here in parentheses to kind of keep track of when stuff is coming out. So anyway, this is how I keep track of what I'm seeking in as far as sealed items go. And then I have my master set list, my individual loose Pokemon card list, and I know I've said on the channel before, I'm trying to collect a master set of every set, every promo set, every regular set, and every special set since the beginning of the Sword and Shield era. My son and I started collecting really kind of in the Vivid Voltage, kind of early-ish Sword and Shield, and so that's when we picked up Pokemon as a hobby. And so with Sword and Shield, this first page is all the Sword and Shield stuff that I have left. And I've been chipping away at it. I mean, a lot of stuff is low-hanging fruit again with a lot of these master sets. I mean, a vast majority of cards in any of these sets are not that expensive, and they're relatively easy to pick up. And I picked them up kind of at the time of release in building my collection. And then over time, I tried to add the more valuable cards. Of course, I got a little bit behind in Sword and Shield and hadn't really like figured all of this out like early enough. And so unfortunately, I mean, I really missed the chance with like Evolving Skies in particular. Of course, there's a lot of expensive cards in Evolving Skies. We did open a fair amount of Evolving Skies. It's not that we weren't in the hobby at that point, but just I think if I knew then what I know now, I would have been a little bit more aggressive in picking up some of these cards at the time. But of course, any given month, there's only so many resources to go around. And so anyway, this is an update of, this is as of the beginning of September. And again, I have a clean sheet of this to start October. But when we started the month, and what I do is, I list, the Sword and Shield promos. Right now I'm missing two. And if you kind of not count the World Championship promo, which is very expensive, and, available only to folks who participated. But I just need two cards of promos. I need the Special Delivery Pikachu and Bidoof. I was not in the hobby when the Bidoof went out, or the Pikachu, and so I wasn't able to get in. I think those were available, like you had to sign up, and then you got a code and the whole thing, but that was before we were in the hobby, unfortunately. So now you can see that it's only two cards, but you can see the price here. And then each month when I update this sheet, I'll delete any cards that I've picked up, so make my list a little shorter, and then I'll update the prices. And that'll help me keep track of what the current price is in case I have this with me when I go shopping. And if I ever see these cards out and about, I'll know kind of roughly what market price is. And also it tells me the change month over month, so give a sense of what the movement is on these cards. And so you can see here I did only pick up two cards. I picked up the Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX from Chilling Reign, and I picked up the Mew VMAX from Fusion Strike. Both of those were available at my local card shop, and I had a credit with them from cards that I had taken into them. And so actually I didn't have to pay any cash for these cards. I was just able to essentially trade duplicates, and they give pretty good value. I think if you average it out, it's between 60 and 70% of market price. And if I sell those same cards on eBay, once you minus the fees and the percentage that eBay takes, it's pretty close. And then I don't have to, with eBay, the challenge is not only do you, maybe it nets out to be similar, but of course with eBay, then there's the extra work of like photoing the cards, listing the cards, and then waiting for them to sell. And it's nice when I take them into my card shop, I have the value immediately in my account and can turn around right away and pick up cards. And so those are the two cards they happen to have that I still needed. And so I'm excited to cross those off the list. And you can see, that most of the cards I still need from the Sword and Shield blocker are Evolving Skies, and they are, of course, the heavy hitters in Evolving Skies. So we'll come back to that in 1 second. Well, actually, maybe I'll do that now. So I have this. This is like by the end of the month, this is what the sheet looks like. I have other notations on it just throughout the month that I might want to, that I'm keeping track of different things. And then, like I said, at the end of the month, or at the beginning of the next month, actually, I've created now a new one. So 10-1, I've deleted the two cards from the list that I picked up because they are now in my collection. And I have a list here. And right now, it's kind of nice. If you look here at the bottom, I have a total of 24 cards remaining from Sword and Shield to finish all of my master sets. Unfortunately, the cumulative price of those just 24 cards is almost $5,000. So the chances that I'm going to run out and grab them are, but every month I try to maybe cross one or two off the list if there's opportunity. Eventually it's going to get to the point where the only remaining cards are the real heavy hitters. And again, I'll have to weigh, like, is it worth for me to spend $300 or $400 or $500 or even $1,000 on a card? That's a rare air as far as a collector goes. But in any case, like, there's still some low-hanging fruit, relatively speaking, on this list. So we can go over it super quickly. Again, the Sword and Shield promos, what's nice is that both of the promos have gone down in value. And so, again, at least it's kind of moving in the right direction. Try to take advantage of timing the market just a little bit. If stuff is on the rise up quickly, then you want to maybe hold off and wait till things come back down. If things are kind of in decline, that's maybe a good indication that it might be a time to pick those up, although of course you can see that the price of these cards is pretty up there. I have the two Charizards and Champion's Path. Both of those have gone down quite a bit, and including the VMAX, the Rainbow, has gone down almost $20. So both of those, again, are still expensive cards to be sure, but they have gone down. So that's, might be a market opportunity to pick up, especially the Rainbow. I have, you can see if I have a set complete, base set, Rebel Clash, Darkness Ablaze, Vivid, Shining Fates, and Battle Styles are all complete. Chilling Reign, we're down to 5 cards with the one that I got last month. And you can see that a couple of the cards, the first 2 on the list, are just $45, so not terrible. Then you've got the Moltres, which is 126 but has gone down, and the Blaziken as well is still almost 300, but it's gone down. So you can see there's kind of a general decline in prices here, which again is bad if you already have these cards, I suppose, but good if you're a collector and wanting to still acquire them. The Snorlax Gold is held steady, NC is no change. And so you can see that, 5 cards remaining, the prices on Chilling Reign have gone down. And, there might be, again, maybe a market opportunity to pick up a couple of these low-hanging fruit cards to cross off my list. And, only 5 left, so that feels pretty good, especially because a couple of these are not too much. Evolving Skies, that's really where the bulk of the work is. You can see that, almost half of the value, over $2,600 still, and 11 cards, like really almost half of the cards I still need from the Sword and Shield block are in Evolving Skies. And you can see that it's really, these ones are a little bit more stable. The price all together of these 11 cards went up a little bit in the last month, but most of that is driven by, you can see the Moonbryon is almost $1,000. It went up by over $100 in this last month. So there's still movement on that card. A lot of the other cards, though, you can see have gone down. The Leafeon, the Glaceon, the Sylveon all reduced to some degree. If there was any movement up, it was very slight, $1 or $2. So, in general, I think most of the cards here are stable or going down, but just in this case, the Moonbryon still continues to be the chase card of the Sword and Shield block. I do have some Evolving Skies to open that I've been stockpiling, so I'll have a different video at some point. I'm almost like putting it off, like delaying gratification, like to open a bunch of Evolving Skies packs on the channel is kind of exciting, but also I almost want to delay that gratification for a little bit longer. Fusion Strike, we did cross one off the list this last month, and so we're down to just 2 cards in Fusion Strike. They're both the heavy hitters, the Espeon and Gengar, both over $200, and Gengar, of course, over $300. But prices have, they're a little bit stable. The big reduction in Fusion Strike is just because I picked up a card, so that minus 71 is not so much a reflection of the market, just the fact that we bought a card. Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, Go are all complete. Lost Origin, I did pick up the Rotom V in August, and so now we're down to just the 2 heavy hitters. The Aerodactyl price is really, stable and low. This card had gone up quite a bit, and so now it's back down to around $100, which seems like about right, and so that might be another one to consider picking up. I mean, you can see back up at Evolving Skies, even though you've got a lot of really expensive cards, there's still a handful of cards under $100. So again, part of me is wanting to build up more store credit at my local card shop, and then turn the cards that I have that I don't need into cash or into store credit that then I can turn into these cards. They actually do have a Giratina V right now. It's gone down a bit and would be not a terrible time to pick that card up, but I don't have $333 of credit yet. And I could pay cash potentially if that's where I wanted to put my collecting dollars, but I don't know. There's just a lot of places that money could go. So I have Silver Tempest, I have Crown Zenith, and so you can see that starting October 1, right now I have 24 cards remaining. I think the good news is that in general, it seems like the prices on these Sword and Shield, I mean, this isn't obviously comprehensive of every card in the Sword and Shield block, but this is most of the heavy hitter cards, and altogether these cards, tracking the movement of these cards gives me like probably what I feel like is a pretty decent sense of what's happening in the Sword and Shield card market. And in general, it seems like things are stable or declining except for a few exceptional cards. And so again, you can see that overall 24 cards remaining, a little under $5,000. And then I also have it organized by what it would cost to finish the sets. Right now, the set that I could finish the most cheaply is Champion's Path. Those 2 Charizards together are a little over $300 would complete that set. Then the Sword and Shield promo block, $364 would pick up those 2 special delivery cards. Then Lost Origin, then Fusion Strike, then Chilling Reign, and then Evolving Skies. All of that is pretty expensive. So, but it's one way to think about making progress toward my goal of eventually, maybe someday, having a complete Sword and Shield master set of every Sword and Shield set. So I also have that same thing for Scarlet and Violet. So I'm doing the same exact thing, keeping track of any promo cards that have come out. And then this is from the beginning of September. And then you can see I crossed off cards that I picked up. I was not very aggressive in Sword and Shield singles in this month. I did pick up Erica's Invitation. I picked up one card in Paradox Rift, a few Paldean Fates cards. But really, I was not. I was opening Shrouded Fable, and I was opening Stellar Crown, the new set. I wasn't doing a lot of single hunting. So I do have a lot of low-hanging fruit here. I won't spend time going through all of these, but you can see just I do the same thing. I keep track of the sets in the same sort of way. I also keep track of reverse hollows. I have complete reverse hollow sets of all the Sword and Shield block, but I'm working on completing reverse hollow sets. I left off at Scarlet and Violet 151, and it doesn't actually cost that much to just go on TCG Player and throw all the reverse hollows that I still need in. It's usually just $10 or $20 to pick up the remaining. So it's probably maybe getting time to sort of catch up here. I do have a complete Temporal Forces reverse hollow set because we did the Master Set Challenge. And Twilight Masquerade and Shrouded Fable, with how much I've opened of those, I feel like I'm probably pretty close. Actually, for all these, I'm probably pretty close with how much I've already opened, but it's just a matter of getting into my binder, making notes of which ones I'm missing, and then purchasing those. And so that is the marked up copy. And again, I also have a clean copy. Actually, I forgot to change the date. This should be 10/1, which I'll do after I get off recording. But anyway, you can see, still have the two from Paldea, but they both have come down quite a bit. The Iono's down to under $60. The Magikarp is just around 100. It was up quite a bit more than that, and so it's probably not a bad time to pick those up. And those two, Magikarp's a little harder to find. Iono, I feel like most of the card shops around here have the Iono in stock. 151, just 9 cards left. I have some 151 to open. I actually have some Paldea. Most of these sets where I still have cards that I want to pick up. I also have packs. I kind of just like do, I keep packs kind of off to the side. You can see all those Evolving Skies. So I've been stockpiling packs to do openings on the channel, and that will be a way for me to also work towards the Master Set, is just to open some packs. I know it's a little bit of a fool's errand to open packs in search of particular cards, but at the same time, it's fun to open packs, and that's part of the fun of the hobby. So anyway, there will be more openings of some of these sets soon. But I have 9 cards left. Paradox is only 10 cards, and also the total of those 10 cards is only $100. I picked up most of the heavy hitters of Paradox already, so I just have most of the cards. These wouldn't be too hard, and again, it's pretty tempting just for $100 to like finish this set off. Maybe that could be a goal for this month if I just wanted to polish off a set quickly. Paldean Fates too. It's around $400 to finish these, but I've definitely whittled this list down. It's a really large set, and so we're down to just 15 cards remaining for Paldean Fates. We do have a complete Temporal Forces thanks to our successful Master Set Challenge. Twilight, we did pretty well, but unfortunately we didn't pull any of the 3 heavy hitters. The good news is that the price, especially on Carmine and Perrin, is dropping, and even Greninja, even though it's still almost $300, the price on that has stabilized and dropped some, and so we'll see if we open more Twilight on the channel. But Shrouded Fable too, there's quite a few cards. I opened some Shrouded Fable. There's 20 cards left, but a lot of these, there's even some cards in here that are just $1 or $2. I just haven't had the chance to do some single hunting, but it'd be pretty easy to reduce this list pretty significantly. And so there you can see where we're at. I don't have Stellar Crown on this list. Usually with a new set, when I'm still doing the Master Set Challenge, I don't take the time it would take to add it to this list until we're a little bit closer to complete. So check out other videos. We're doing the Stellar Crown Challenge on this site, or excuse me, on the channel. And so anyway, this is where we're at with our Scarlet and Violet. And the last piece of paper I have in my stack, and this is actually one that's I haven't updated in a while, and I would like to update, is one thing I'm doing, not so actively, but I'd love to have every artwork by Tomokazu Kamiya. So he's one of the artists that does the cards, and I have a lot of the recent stuff that's been relatively easy to pick up. I have a handful of things I'm missing. I'm missing a lot of the early stuff, anything highlighted that I have, and this I don't think this list is maybe totally complete. So I have picked up some of his earlier stuff, but whenever I'm at a card show or a card shop, or I'm looking through bulk bins, it's kind of a fun guiding principle, is that, I can look for cards that have Tomokazu's artwork. I don't really collect, I don't do master sets kind of pre-Sword and Shield, and so this is one way to kind of keep my interest in earlier sets. So as I showed at the beginning, or I showed just now, I did pick up 2 cards, 2 kind of heavy hitter cards. I picked up some other smaller low-hanging fruit cards for my master sets, but I did pick up the Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX from Chilling Reign, and I picked up. I love this Mew VMAX. It wasn't that much. I think 30 or 40 bucks or something. I mean, for a card that is that cool, I think is pretty good value. I mean, that's the market price for it. But anyway, I'm excited to show you these two cards, and then after this video is done, I'll get to add these to my binders for Chilling Reign and Fusion Strike and get me 2 cards closer to my master sets. So that is my quote-unquote market update for the month of, kind of reflecting on the month of September and looking forward to the month of October. I haven't clarified my collecting goals exactly. Again, I think there's a lot of ways I could go. Ideally, I'd love to knock a few more cards off of my Sword and Shield list, maybe some of those $40 to $50 cards. And then also I do have some, I don't want to get too far behind in the Scarlet and Violet block. And I think, Paradox Rift is a good example of a set that's going to be pretty easy to finish. There's still some low-hanging fruit cards in the most recent sets. So anyway, I have some different options. And so we'll check in the first Friday of November, we'll check in and talk about how we did in October, and I'll update these. And also hopefully this gives you a sense of the market movement. Again, my sense is that in general, Pokemon singles are sort of flat or even declining. And so that's good for people who still have stuff to acquire. And of course, over the long run, the hope is that things go up. But I don't really collect the master sets as investments. I mean, they're fun to have. And I suppose like maybe over the long run, they're going to go up in value. But I think the sealed stuff that I have is really probably where the value is going to be when it comes to Pokemon as investment. For me, the master sets are just part of my collection journey and part of my pursuit of the hobby. So anyway, thanks for following along again with our collection journey. Please share about your collection journey in the comments, and we'll catch you on the next video.